Common Square Neighborhood Council's monthly community meeting. I was so happy to see all of you here this evening and to see a lot of your beautiful faces for those of you that have your video on. Here at the Common Square Neighborhood Council, we like to start on time and end on time, so I'm going to jump right into it. Oh, I see Officer Brewington is on tonight too. So let's start with the police reports. At the Codman Square Neighborhood Council, we hear from both B3 and C11. So let's hear from Officer Brewington from B3.
Oh, you're cute, Cynthia. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Codman Square. My partner Sean is bombarding the video here. He doesn't like to be left out. Okay, so for the last 30 days in you all's catchment area, we don't have a whole lot to report other than we want people to continue to be aware of the fraud that's going on with people making false unemployment and insurance claims on other people's information, trying to collect money during this pandemic. So just make sure you continuously check your social security number and stuff to make sure that you're not seeing other things pop up. Let's see, we had a call yesterday on Milton Ave for some shots being fired. Let's see, and a woman actually, somebody drove up and got out of the car and started shooting at her house and actually shot out one of the bedroom windows around on Milton Ave. Other than that, we don't have a lot to report. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving, and we're moving towards Christmas, and we're sad we cannot do our Christmas party this year. But we are still looking to assist families any way that we can for Christmas. So if you guys know of any families that may be in need, please send them to us. We took care of 7 families for Thanksgiving, so we're happy about that. And other than that, I don't have anything. So are there any comments, questions, or concerns for the B3 side? God, you're looking awful. There you go. You got a smile now. I'm like, why are you looking so?
He was out jogging yesterday while I was going into the Hill Bakery.
Cynthia, I'm just used to seeing you at like 3 in the morning, and I'll never get used to not seeing you at 3 in the morning. That's how we met.
Tis true. So does anybody have any comments, questions, or concerns for B3? No, I'm glad to hear it. Oh, I like your Christmas tree background, Marilyn.
We're happy to see you, Officer Brewington. We hope to see you every month in 2021. We miss you.
You know what, Cynthia? I'm going to type in my work email because I see that the emails that you send me are actually going to my personal email where I have over 100,000 unread emails. 100,000,
okay.
Oh yeah, just a small number.
That would be great. That would be great.
Yeah, so I'm gonna text you. Well, put in the chat here my department email so that I can get those properly. See, look, it's not too many. Wait a minute. Can you see that number?
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah.
You know, but I did happen to see, and I was like, oh, that's Codman Square. They got a meeting.
I'm glad you did. Thank you.
Okay, so you guys, I guess I probably won't see you guys before Christmas. So all of those who do celebrate Christmas, we wish you happy holidays, and see you for the new year, I guess.
Happy holidays to you too.
Bye, everybody.
We'll now hear from Sergeant Dunford from C11.
Hey guys, it's Brian from District 11. Sorry, I checked in on the on Google Meet first, and apparently we're all on Zoom. So I'm glad we figured it out so fast. I have some good stuff here this month. The drug control unit was in Codman Square. They were watching someone who they felt was probably engaged in drug distribution, and they watched somebody show up and meet with them who did not appear to be from the neighborhood, driving an out-of-state license. So they watched them. They had a hand-to-hand interaction. So that party who did not appear to be from the neighborhood went away. They approached the other man on Moultrie Street, and they said, "This is what it is. We think you've got something." Very peaceful. The guy owned up. He said, "Okay, I just bought this for $250. Gave him a big rock of crack cocaine." So because he was because he cooperated, he got a summons, and I believe he gave them some information along the way. So successful in every front. I don't like this one as much, but it has a good ending. So Friday, November 6th, there was a call for shots fired at Lyndhurst and Wash. And then a witness said there was some gunfire down by 70 Lyndhurst. And the officers went down, they didn't find anything. However, I know this address, some of you know this address. What I did was I reached out to a family member who I was told is a good person, very reasonable. I explained the case, terrific person. This house is going to be sold. So I think the problem person who lives there is about to move. That's a great thing for the whole neighborhood. There's another person in the house who needs a little assistance, and they're getting it. So a big win all around. This one was terrific. This happened on November 17th. So the gang unit got some information that some gang-affiliated individuals were going to be in Wainwright Park filming a music video. As they often do, some of these gang kids, when they do a video, they taunt other gang members and they actually show guns. So the gang unit showed up, like the entire gang unit. They hit the park all at once, flooded, no one was getting anywhere. Long story short, they got 6 guns. 6 guns out of Wainwright Park, all in one stop. 3 people were arrested. The guns are all illegal, all off the street. So this was a huge win, and hopefully people get the message that the park is a nice place for families to spend time and not for that stuff. I have one, this was sad. Codman Square resident, he lives just on the other side. He was killed in a motor vehicle accident on Columbia Road. And I'm told drag racing was a part of it. And he was, his friends were all sort of into this like car scene. So the day of the funeral, we had talked to the family, and the family didn't want the stuff going on either. When we worked with them, they were burning rubber up and down Talbot Ave. So if you saw this or you saw drag racing and you felt unsafe, my understanding, it only happened one day, and it's been brought to an end. If there's something else I need to know about this, please let me know, and we'll try to address it. Very sad case. I didn't know him, but I talked to his mother and father. Terrific, reasonable people you would like to live next door to. So very sad on that. More great news. A number of stores have been broken into. They knew who did it, but they couldn't prove it yet. So detectives were watching him. And he had been breaking it. He had done armed robberies at convenience stores around your neighborhood and cell phone stores around your neighborhood. So detectives were watching him one day. And as they were watching him, he jumped into an Amazon driver's vehicle as the driver was dropping a package, and he stole it, took off with it with all the packages. The problem is that the driver had left his cell phone in the car. So they used the Find My iPhone app. They found out he had driven right back to his house where they knew where he lived. So officers went right to his house. They surrounded it. They walked up the stairs and said, dude, you got to come with us. They got a search warrant for the house. They brought him back for an interview, and he admitted to most of the armed robberies. So they got him right there with the package theft, and we just solved the 9 armed robberies. This was a very nice win. And what else did I have? We've had some homeless folks hanging on Wells Ave. Some of the business owners complained to us. So we used a street outreach team. Instead of just going down there and having a confrontation, we sent the street outreach team to see if we can get them whatever they need to get off the street or to start living a different life or some help or whatever they need. So we're trying to move them along. And if that's being displaced someplace else, let us know. We'll be happy to deal with it. But otherwise, Codman Square is looking pretty good, guys. Thank you.
Any questions for the sergeant?
I have one.
Hey.
Hey, Sarge, you can remember maybe about a year, almost 2 years now, there was a shooting I witnessed over on Penn Hollow, and where the young man was killed. We're having a problem with people coming back around and setting up memorials on Penn Hollow to the point where they're being real disruptive around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. My neighbors are terrified. I'm not. I just go down there and ask them to leave. But is there something that we can do that I can tell my neighbors how we can handle that? Because it's been consistent and very disruptive to go in the bathroom on the side of people's homes and stuff like that. Anything you can suggest would be wonderful.
One of your neighbors is not shy about calling me. He calls my cell phone, and it's always after the fact. It's never when I can get to it. What I want your neighbors to do is call 911, because if I can point and say, hey, I got 7 911 calls last night. We have to deal with this. We have to deal with this. If someone calls me once a year and said that they're back again, they raised hell last night, it's tougher to allocate resources to it. I heard about what happened, and I heard it was extremely disrespectful to the neighborhood. If there's a memorial set up, we'll let it go for a couple of days, then we're taking it down. As far as that go into the bathroom stuff, I have zero tolerance for that. That's not acceptable in any neighborhood. So how often is this happening?
Probably every other month.
Yeah, that's why it's getting so frustrating, because there's not like a schedule. If I knew it was going to be on his birthday, I could be there. Let me talk to the midnight supervisor, let him know about the issue, see if he can task one officer or one car with cruising through Penhallow Street, because otherwise Penhallow Street is a lovely place to live.
Oh, no, that's my street. And
Yeah.
I had another quick question. We also been having an abundance of people driving up and shooting up in their cars. Me and Doug, you know Doug early. Me and Doug have been knocking on the windows, which is kind of dangerous, but we do it. But we've been seeing an abundance. And when I say abundance, I'm talking about at least 3 to 4 a month of people coming up, parking their car on the street, and making an attempt to cook up some drugs and shoot them in the car.
Really?
Yep.
All right. Let me have a code 19 down there, and it'll look like a bad spot, and they'll start going somewhere else.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you.
A code 19 is one of the officers parks his car on the street, and you'll.
Yeah, I know. Yes, thank you.
No problem. Anyone else?
Hi, this is Christine Rose from Four Corners Yoga and Wellness. Earlier in November, one of our guests at the studio, her scooter was stolen from out front of our studio, and our landlords have videotape. And I was just curious because a detective, I guess, had reached out to me and asked if we had access to the footage, and I just forwarded it to our client. And I don't know, she hasn't been back to the studio, and I haven't really reached out to her yet, but I was just wondering, do you know anything more about 336 Washington Street, Upper Washington Street, and that scooter that was stolen?
I know the studio, and I saw the report. I don't know the results. This sounds like I'm not taking it seriously, but every scooter in the city gets stolen at some point. They're not built like cars to be secure. They are very easy to steal. You can do it with a screwdriver, which makes it so frustrating. And right now, this sounds awful, but everybody is wearing a mask. So when you see somebody doing it, you're not getting IDs unless they're not wearing a mask. Very frustrating. I won't lie to you. I'm not hopeful, but I'll poke around and see if the detective has anything.
Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, I had walked in and I saw it in front of the studio, and I was very surprised. And I didn't ask anything until like 10 minutes into the class because it just felt uncomfortable in my spirit. And I was like, does anybody own that scooter? And the girl assured me it had a tire lock and it was safe. I'm like, you mean nobody could just pick it up? And she was like, no. I'm like, she was very naive, but she knows now. But thank you.
Hard lesson, but thank you.
I have a question or two. So the first one is just like, do you have any advice around, there's been a lot of homeless people like setting up all over Washington Street and all over the place. So one, what can we do about that? And then two, this poet person is driving me absolutely crazy. Do you know who that is? I mean, I know one time you mentioned that somebody had some video footage, but he's tagging up everywhere, and it's terrible.
I hate the taggers. I know about Poet. I don't know who he is. I don't think anyone knows who he is, but I do know this. There's one detective in the city who specializes in tagging. So when you see a new one go up, get in touch with me, and we'll scour for videotape. Because when we catch one of these guys, and we do catch them sometimes, we find out they've done tens of thousands of dollars in damage, if not more. So these are legit charges, and we'll pursue them if we can prove who it is. And we caught a guy in front of the Murphy, and he was doing the Murphy school, and he used his mother's car. So we get the plate, and I mean, yeah. So we can prove who it is once in a while. I'd like to catch Poet because he's been busy. As far as the homeless, this is a citywide problem. The police on the end of it tend to be either moving them or dealing with their bad behavior. Primarily, we are not the agency that should be, and that's not me saying I don't want to do the work. I don't want to have homeless people injected into the criminal justice system when they don't need to be. I'd rather they got help. If you have a problem location where there's particular individuals holding up, setting up shop, let me know, and we have a special team called the Street Outreach Team, and all they do is deal with homeless people. So I'll direct it directly to them.
Hey, Sergeant.
Yes.
I just put it in. There's someone who's basically living under the Talbot Ave Bridge. So if you can, that is a location that we can get someone to, or you can let them know about. I have not driven by there, I think, in the last month and not seen the carriage and everything else sitting near that, under that Talbot Ave Bridge, near the Talbot Ave station. So please let that location be known.
Happily.
Yeah, and he's handicapped too, that guy. But now 2 more people joined him.
Guys, the worst thing is, like, someone who's rude is easy to deal with and tell them to move along, and someone who's sad, who just makes you not want to push them along. You almost say, I think a lot of officers say, oh, I'm going to give this guy a break because he's handicapped, but he's not really, no one's helping him on the street. There are places.
He has literally been there every time, or his stuff has been there literally. Those, like, I don't want to say months, but it's been there pretty consistently whenever I've driven under the Talbot Ave Bridge.
I'll put it in right away.
And I felt the same way. Like you said, I thought maybe he'll be there for a day or two and I won't do much about it, but we need to do something at this point.
Yep, we're on it.
Thank you. I was
Thank you, Sergeant.
gonna add my 2 cents in about that. I'm actually on the development team right next to where this gentleman is setting up shop underneath the bridge on 191 Talbot. So I was giving him a chance at first. I've stopped and had a few conversations, even a few times. I gave him a couple $, get some coffee and things like that. And I was trying to help him out, but he did become kind of rude. So I left it alone, just for my own safety at that point. But it's been about a month and a half actually. He's setting up shop down there. So I was gonna report it, but I was just giving the benefit of the doubt. But I'm glad that everyone else spoke up. I didn't want to be the mean developer that's saying, "Hey, you're ruining my property."
I get it.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that would be very helpful if we can get him some resources.
We're on it, guys.
All right.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thanks, Cynthia. Have Merry Christmas, guys.
Happy holidays. Okay, we will now move along in the agenda. I'm going to briefly share my screen. Can everyone see? Okay, we have just a few updates here. First, the Codman Square Park. We were able to secure $640,000 in the city's capital plan for the Codman Square Park. We are now requesting CPA supplemental design and construction funds for phase 1 of the plan. If you're not familiar, phase 1 is focused on the park parcel here. This is at the corner of Washington and Talbot. And then phase 2 is focused on the second church parcel here. Our application was submitted in November, so fingers crossed, hopefully we receive the funding. And if you have any questions or you want to get more involved with the Codman Square Park, just contact us at friendsofcodmansquarepark@gmail.com. This is super exciting, you guys. This is a step in the right direction, looking at what the future of that park could be. We still have plenty of opportunities to gather additional input, and we really encourage you to get involved because this is just a centrally located space in Codman Square, and if we can transform it, we can really transform our neighborhood. Do any of you have questions about the Codman Square Park?
Cynthia, hi, it's Candace. Hey, everybody. I have a question. This looks really beautiful. And, I live on Moultrie Street, adjacent behind the church. I'm just looking at the parking spaces, the way they are designated on Moultrie. I know that there is, I think, an easement for people coming off Washington Street. They can park in the lot behind the laundromat. Are they going to be allowed to do that as well from the parking? I can see the parking behind the church. It's just my concern that people are going to be confused and drive down Moultrie Street the wrong way past the church. How are they going to access that parking behind the if you're looking at the front of the church, it's on the left-hand side?
So I'll put a link in the chat that allows you to just scroll through the actual renderings and see the site plan. But there will be, because right now you can only access the church coming in through certain entrances. But in this proposed design, you will have an entrance on Moultrie and an exit on Moultrie for that parking area.
Okay, and do you know if they'll have signage like a, do not enter from a certain part, Moultrie, so that people don't drive down the wrong way?
I think they will, but I think you should definitely join us for our meetings to make sure that there's additional signage.
You're good. Okay.
Any other questions on the Codman Square Park? We're moving in the right direction. We're securing city dollars. We're going to secure some CPA dollars. Rep Holmes, if you know of any additional state funding we can go try to obtain, that would be great as well.
Well, you know, I work with the same person you're working with,
Yes.
and she knows how to get the money from me at the state. So she's the one who helps me out get all the money that we need. So I'll ask her, I can drop her an email, just remind her that there's state money, but I'm sure she's already been doing the application.
Wonderful. Okay, if there are no other questions, I'm going to move on to the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market. You guys know that we run the Codman Square Farmers Market during the summer months, and even with COVID, we were able to continue that market this year because it's outdoors. We're able to follow all of the COVID guidelines and keep everyone safe. The Dorchester Winter Farmers Market, we also organize that market in collaboration with the Codman Square Health Center, but that's an indoor market. And so we're finding it challenging figuring out ways to keep everyone safe, knowing that it's indoors and we don't know what the future holds. So we are going to make the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market virtual this year. Yes, virtual. We've never had a virtual winter market, but we're going to do it. And this is our way of keeping our customers, staff, volunteers, farmers, and vendors safe. We'll be offering locally grown fruits and vegetables, eggs, meats, value-added products, and more. You'll see all of our local businesses that are able to provide this resource online as well at the virtual market. And we're going to make sure that families that utilize SNAP and HIP benefits will be able to use those benefits at the market too. And we're working out ways to make sure that we provide food assistance and free food to families from our farms as well. So just stay tuned, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, watch out for the website, because January through March, the Dorchester Winter Market is going virtual. Do we have any questions about that? Okay, great. I will now hand it off to Lisa. She's the secretary of the Codman Square Neighborhood Council, and she's going to be talking about the single slate of candidates that we have to elect for our 2021 board.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We have a slate of candidates for our board of directors for 2021. So what I would like everyone to do is, everyone on the slate, if we could have them. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to have each of the board members introduce themselves briefly. So we'll start off in the order of the list. Cynthia Loesch-Johnson. If you could say a few words.
Sure. Thanks, Lisa. Hello again, Cynthia Loesch-Johnson. Super excited to serve on the board in 2021. I live on Brent Street. I lived in this neighborhood for 3 decades and some change. I'm very passionate about bringing, fresh food to our neighborhood, not just through the Dorchester Winter Farmers Market and through the Codman Square Farmers Market, but also just looking at our merchants district and seeing, what's available to us and how we can improve what we have access to. I care about making our parks safe and beautiful for all of our families to enjoy, and making sure the youth voice is heard. So I look forward to serving on the board in 2021 and doing the good work that we do.
Wonderful, thank you. Amy Winter. Is Amy here?
Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, yeah, my name is Amy. I am a new resident. I moved in April in the height of COVID to Wainwright Street, but I'm very excited to be here. I was introduced to the organization through my friend Erica Davis, which I believe she's on here as well. Erica and I work together at Madison Park Development Corporation in Roxbury. I'm currently with the Division of Capital and Asset Management at the state doing planning and large capital planning projects. But my background is in affordable housing, so that's what I'm really interested in. And I'm really excited about all the different projects that you guys support and just how involved in the community you are. So I'm really excited and happy to help in whatever way I can and get involved. So thanks, guys.
Okay. Thank you, Amy. Sean Burgess.
I like how you say my name. It sounds so official. Hey, Amy, welcome to the neighborhood. I've been here probably 4 decades, a little bit more, Cynthia. I live on Rockwell Street, live in the area. I'm one of the members of the board. I've been doing it for maybe 4 years or so now. Love Codman Square. Burgess Realty Group. It's my company, Codman Square Real Estate Company. I have nothing but great things to say about Codman Square, and I'm here, Amy, so welcome again.
Okay, thank you. Reverend Brilton Levy. Is Reverend Levy on?
He was on earlier.
Okay. All right, we'll skip back to him later. Janice Bacon. Janice, are you there? Okay, if she comes on later, we'll skip back to her. Marie St. Louis. Okay. Next one, Milton Bramble.
Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. Nice to meet everyone again. And I'm a Dorchester native. I've been here all 36 years of my young life here, and you know, I've pretty much been in every corner of Dorchester. If I'm not playing basketball or on some type of community outreach program or volunteer program. I am now a real estate developer in Dorchester. I work alongside with T. or Travis Lee. Most people might know him as T. Development. And since we started co-developing some projects over the last year and a half, I've just grown even more of a love for my neighborhood, because I'm actually able to give some change and bring some value, some good value to the neighborhood that I think is well needed. So you know, I'm just honored to be a part of this organization in general, and meeting all you people and wanting to work to, you know, shape and change and this better Dorchester as a community living. You know, I thought about leaving Dorchester at one point, because, you know, got a little bit rough, but I strapped my boots back on and said, this is where I'm from and I'm not leaving. And I wanted to make it a better place. So I invested myself, my money, all into Dorchester, and I'm here for the long haul. So again, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your organization.
Thank you, Milton. I see that Janice is actually here. I'm just going to read what she put in the chat. She will be participating. She's looking forward to participating on the 2021 board. She has lived in Codman Square for a number of years, and she plans on connecting with more members on more projects. So that's Janice. Next up is Melissa Dagger.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melissa Dagger. I live on Wainwright Street. I've been living here for about, I think, 3 years or so. And I work at the Codman Square Health Center as a therapist, a social worker. And I've been there for about 7 years now at the health center. And I've lived in all different neighborhoods in Boston, and I just really love my time in Dorchester and in Codman Square. I feel really included, and I feel like I know a lot of people and feel definitely connected. I'm super happy to see Amy. I've seen you around the neighborhood, but recognizing now that I think we live across the street from each other. So, but yeah, I'm definitely happy to be involved with the community and excited to be nominated.
Thank you, Melissa. Next up is Keshler Sanon.
Hi, I'm Keshler Sanon. I'm a youth in the neighborhood. I live on Norwell Street, and I'm excited to serve on the board. Things could only get better from here, so.
Thank you, Keshler. Next up is Erica Davis. Erica, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Hi, everybody. How everyone doing tonight? And hey, Amy, I'm glad you're a part of the board, and shout out to Milton. We went to high school together. Haven't seen you in a while, but glad to see you on the board as well. So Erica Davis, I work at Madison Park Development Corporation. I'm also an agent at Thumbprint, and I do a few other things on the side. I run my own business as well. So I'm glad to be back on the board.
Thank you, Erica.
Thank
Next
you.
up is Vikma Desir.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Vikma. My family and I recently moved here from West Roxbury's. We've lived here for about a year now. We're excited to be part of the community. We're excited to be in a more diverse community. I am a recent full-time homemaker with 4 kids, and my husband is a Boston firefighter. I recently met Cynthia at the park. I'm so grateful to have met her. And I'm excited to be part of this council. I'm excited to make some change and to meet more people in the community. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Vikma. Now on to our affiliate members. Next up is Alphonse Knight. Is Alphonse on? If not, we'll skip to the next person, Joanna Edwards. Okay. The next, Daryl Goldston. Okay. I guess that leaves me. I'm next on the list. My name is Lisa Hamblin. I've lived in the Codman Square area since, I think, 1993. I've been here for a while. I also work at the Codman Square Health Center. I've been there for about 10 years, coming up to 10 years now. And I've served on the board of the Codman Square Neighborhood Council for about 4 years. And I look forward to continuing serving on the board and being involved in the community. So thank you. And then next up is Marilyn Foreman.
Hey, hi everybody. I am Marilyn Foreman, and I am with the Codman Square Neighborhood Development Corporation. I've been there for the past, I think it's 11 years now. Time has flown by, but I have been in the Codman Square, Four Corners area. Actually, I grew up in the Four Corners area. And I've worked for the health center for, I think, 7 years prior to going to the Neighborhood Development Corporation. I ran micro business and program at 450 Washington Street for teen girls, where I taught entrepreneurship and life skills, and moved on to be the lead organizer at Codman Square Neighborhood Development Corporation. So I've always been very involved in the community. Codman Square to Four Corners is like a cousin. So I worship in in Four Corners and have been since I was like 8. That's where I actually had the pleasure of meeting the Reverend Dr. Bill Loesch, and also his children when they were little, very little. Cynthia was probably about 8 when I met her. And so I've been very involved in the community for all these years, right up from Grove Hall right through the end of Codman Square. So love my community, love people, love working with them, love to be the representative for Codman Square Neighborhood Development Corporation to the council. And just looking very forward to continuing to build in community together with all of you.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Mm-hmm.
All right, up next is Jeffrey Johnson.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jeff Johnson. I will be representing the Friends of Dr. Loesch Family Park this year, upcoming. I've been in Dorchester for 4 years now, and I'm looking forward to being involved, and hopefully the new year has something in store for us that's not quarantine. So look forward to working with everybody. Thank you.
Hi. Hi. Thank you. All right, up next is Candice Gartley.
Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be with you tonight. moved to Moultrie Street a long time ago, and the plan for us was to buy the beautiful house in a very distressed neighborhood, sell that thing as fast as we could, make some money and move out. But the funny thing was we fell in love with our neighbors, we fell in love with the neighborhood, and I think we're coming on our 35th year of living in Codman Square. I worked in corporate America, and then somewhere, and I can't even remember at this point, maybe in the early 90s, I started working at the Codman Square Health Center, and again, was only going to work there for a couple of years, and I ended up working there for 20 years as chief of staff with the executive director, and I cut my teeth on community activism there and really became deeply embedded in the work that was being done. And I worked shoulder to shoulder with so many of you wonderful, wonderful people who I love so much on the board and the affiliate members. And about 8 years ago right now, 8 years already, I moved and I took a job as the executive director of the All Dorchester Sports League over in Town Field. And I realized that what I thought was a small sports organization could not remain as a small sports organization because there was so much need in this community, and I wanted to be a bigger part of improving the quality of life in my neighborhood. So we've expanded and we renamed the organization to All Dorchester Sports and Leadership, and we work in tandem with so many of the ideas and the efforts that Codman Square is working with, and everything I learned at Codman Square, I brought over to Fields Corner. I hope I can continue that good work, and I really enjoy being on the board. I've seen a lot of change over the years, and it's all for the good. I'm so happy to see all the new and young energy here, even though I was thinking I used to be the young energy, but now I'm maybe the old energy. But it's great to be here. I'm still going to hang with you guys. I appreciate still being an affiliate member of the board, and I'm looking forward to another dynamic year as we move through the pandemic.
Great. Thank you, Candace. Up next, Mary Gregory.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary. I'm the Family Services Manager at Habitat for Humanity Greater Boston. We've been an affiliate member for 1 full year now, so we're very new, but so our presence in Codman Square has evolved over the years. We started back in, when even was it, 2017, 2018, building what is now a 5-unit condo association on Belina Place off of Norfolk Street, which the second phase of that is done, and the families will be moving in soon. And we have another project that we were just approved for right across the street. So on Norfolk Street, on the corner, like off of Talbot Ave, on that corner. So literally right across the street from Belina Place. So very exciting. We thank the Codman Square Neighborhood Council for giving us a letter of support for our proposal. And we look forward to continuing as affiliate members and helping the Codman Square neighborhood however else we can. This has been a very unique and great opportunity for Habitat to not only build in a neighborhood, but learn about the neighborhood that we are selecting families to live in for the next 30 plus years. So it's been a great experience, and we are very excited to continue our relationship.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. Up next is Barbara Burgess.
Hi, everyone. Candace, you're not the senior person. I think I am. I'm so pleased to have been nominated to serve with this wonderful council for another year as an affiliate member. I have lived in Dorchester for over 4 decades. And I am now a sales associate at Burgess Realty Group. I'm a retired community college administrator, and my son would not let me retire, so that's why I'm working with him now. And I'm just so pleased because I enjoy working with this group. It's a great group, and I'm always bragging in the community about the Codman Square Neighborhood Council. So let's all keep up the great work, and see you at the next meeting. Take care.
Thank you, Barbara. Up next is Richard Joseph.
Hey everybody, it's good to be here. Really appreciate you having me join this awesome group of people. I'm a physician. I trained at the Brigham and currently I'm a physician there. But when I was in training, was just really itching to get out of the hospital and get involved in sort of community related work, with the idea being that people's health happens where they live and where they work and where they play, and not in places like the Brigham generally. So got involved through Sportsman's Tennis and Enrichment Center on Blue Hill Avenue in Dorchester. And so there had been sort of a loose affiliation between the Brigham and Sportsman's for a number of years. And sort of a lot of my role now is sort of helping to better formalize that and create programming around community engagement and health related outreach. And you know, very quickly discovered that that can't be done in isolation, and that it needs to be about creative partnerships and working with various stakeholders and other organizations in the area to really think about health collectively. And so it's a pleasure to be here, and really appreciate Cynthia for all the work that she does, and it's a pleasure to join.
Okay, thank you, Richard. And finally, we have Meg Campbell. Is Meg on? Okay, are there any other members of the board that have not spoken yet? I think I see Marie was on mute. Marie, are you there?
Hello.
Hi. Oh, is that Reverend Levy?
Yes, speaking.
Okay, if you could just say a few words, introduce yourself.
I am Reverend Levy from Codman Square neighborhood. I am on the board for the past, almost the beginning of the neighborhood council, so I'm one of the older ones. And if I voted back on this year, I would like to work with the seniors in the community, because that's the passion for me, the seniors in my neighborhood. And if I may say something concerning the gentleman lived underneath the bridge. In the morning, I picked up some needles, and I didn't hear anyone say anything about it today. I called a couple of people and talked to them about it. And, you know, so I stopped picking them up. So if somebody could, you know, also look into that. Thanks for being on the board.
Thank you, Reverend Levy. Are there any other board members that would like to speak, that have not spoken yet, that have not introduced themselves? Okay, I think that's it.
If there's no one else, Lisa, I move that we vote.
You can hear me.
Oh, there's Marie.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm sorry, good evening. My name is Marie St. Louis. I don't know if you guys can see me, but for some reason, I'm not showing up on the screen. But I'm so happy to see a lot of new faces in the board this year. That's really amazing, because like it's like good to have new people with fresh idea. And I've been in the board for close to 7 years. I started with Reverend Loesch, that I miss a lot. And I'm also a treasurer, and I'm also happy to serve on the board. I've been in Codman Square for close to 20 years. I live in Norwell, and I love working with all these people. Whoever's new that just came to the board, you guys gonna have fun and enjoy it, because we are a very nice group. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marie. All right, I think that's everyone's. So I'll hand you back to Cynthia. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I move that we vote in the slate of the 11 board members and the 11 affiliate board members as presented. Does anyone second?
I second. I don't know if I can, but
It's been moved, it's been seconded, and I'm going to ask, all in favor say aye.
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 Or chat your aye in the chat box.
Aye.
Great. Those that oppose say nay. Great.
Abstention.
Okay, the ayes have it. The motion carries. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Great, thank you.
The ayes have it.
Moving along in the agenda. Is Shani, let me just check is Shani on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. Okay, guys, we have an update on what's going on at 44 Aspinwall Road. Shani Fletcher from the Department of Neighborhood Development is going to give us that update. Let me allow her to share her screen. I just have to make her the host.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. Okay, great. I'm the host now. So I'll just introduce myself quickly before I pull up my, well, actually, I can pull it up now. So my name is Shani Fletcher, and I am the Grassroots Program Manager at the Department of Neighborhood Development. Sorry, multitasking. And just give me one more second. Okay, should be what I want. And we, the program that I manage, Grassroots Program, gives people access to city land and federal money to start urban farms, community gardens, and other open spaces. So we wanted to come to this meeting, and we invited a 300-foot radius of this site, 44 Aspinwall Road. So hopefully there's some neighbors at the meeting tonight who live close by to this site, at 44 Aspinwall. And we're, I'm here because we are interested in, there has been interest in us offering this parcel for sale to be made permanently open space, including possibly, most likely, continued use as urban agriculture. So I want to talk a little bit about that, and then get any feedback, questions, concerns from you all, especially, again, folks who live close by there, to see if it seems to make sense to move ahead with that proposed use. So I'll just start briefly and talk about, so the Grassroots Program, as I said, we provide funding and land for people to start, and technical assistance for people to start gardens and farms. And these are a couple examples. Windermere Road Garden in Dorchester is on Jones Hill. And then this farm, Eastie Farm, is a community farm where folks, the first one is a community garden where people have individual plots. Eastie Farm is a site where people work together to grow food for donation purposes mostly. So there's different models that we see. This site in particular is the corner of Aspinwall and Whitfield Street. And it has been in use for a few years as a very, it's pretty minimally developed as an urban agriculture site, but it has some raised beds and some water collection, and I think some wildflowers or other grown on the side in a less contained space. But it's been a part of a group called Farmers Collaborative has had a license to do urban agriculture on that site for the last few years. And we're considering, like I said, making it into a permanent open space, as in not making it unavailable to be housing or some other kind of building. So I'll show you the satellite view. So can you all see my mouse on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. So right here is that parcel, and I think you can see the raised beds from the satellite there, but I'll also show you a street view. So here is the site from the street, from Aspinwall Road, and these are the raised beds that currently exist, and this is a water collection system. And then I know they were growing some things here, I think in a less formed kind of bed. So that's how it is now. And the, well, I'll go back to this picture for a moment. So what the use that is being proposed would be a continued use as open space, green space, and grow a space to grow food. And it would be, we would probably, if the community was in support of that use, we would probably offer significant funding to develop it more substantially as community farming, as urban agriculture space, possibly to include a greenhouse for community use to be able to grow seedlings, and also to grow greens in the wintertime. There's, as I said, these raised beds that are already there. There probably would be the addition of fruit trees or more permanent raised beds for community use. And those are some of the main components that are being, considered. So here's a little bit more in more detail about what I understand is of interest by some folks that would want to see this site be used as urban agriculture permanently. And it would include year-round use by the public. It would possibly include fruit trees and bushes for free community food access. So there's a site like this near where I live, and literally, like, if I'm walking by and I see that there's blueberries, I get to pick blueberries and eat blueberries. Sometimes it will include also raised beds that are maintained by community members, again, for like free access to the neighbors. It could include, alternatively, it could include garden plots that are specifically for individuals. But there's a range of possibilities in like making something like an urban agriculture and community growing space. And there would possibly be a small greenhouse on the site, like just like a one-story is what I would imagine, or like a one-story small space where people can grow seedlings for their gardens. And we would permanently protect it as open space, as we do with all of our projects at this time. So those are some of the things that are sort of being considered as like what the use would be. And when I say permanently protected, they would have a deed restriction. So somebody would not be able to like sell the land and then someone else builds a house, or whoever we sold it to wouldn't be able to like suddenly build a house. They would have to maintain it as an open space for the community for food access purposes. So what I'm here to hear from you about is whether you have any questions or concerns regarding this possible use, for including possibly a food forest, urban agriculture, a greenhouse. Do you want to see the space preserved as public open space into the future, or do you think that it should be turned into something else? And is there anything you would not want to see on the site? And then any other comments or questions or concerns you have. That's what I'm here to hear. So in fact, let me find a place to take notes because I didn't bring my notebook in here. But I've got something to write on. So yeah, I would love to hear from folks. And I don't know if there's, let's see, I can pull up the chat, I think, to see if there's anything in the chat, but if people want to, oh great, Diane W says she lives right across the street from 44 Aspinwall. I would love to hear what you think, Diane. And folks can unmute themselves or write questions in the chat, either way.
It's not a question, it's more of a comment. I think the open space concept is wonderful. I think one thing I don't want to see is another tall condo building being built. I think that the garden piece, as a beekeeper, as you know, Shani, I think it's wonderful and it's needed. I think it's great.
Great. Other folks? Diane says to keep it how it's being used. Jenny says garden space is a great idea. I see those in the chat. Anyone else? The fastest community meeting I've ever had. Nikia Manifold says, I would like to see the space preserved as open public space. It would be great if there is a food forest built as well as a greenhouse. Terrific. I'll make sure to save this chat because it's very useful. Any questions anybody has? I can tell you right now, and people, oh, Marilyn, were you going to say something?
Yeah, is it the same people that are looking to kind of expand this?
Yeah, the same people who are currently operating it are interested.
Yeah.
As you know, Marilyn, that we always do an open and competitive RFP process. So we would have to issue that the request for proposals, and then consider who proposes, who submits a proposal. But yes, it is true that they are interested in continuing and developing something more substantial.
Okay, so I just want to ask you this one other thing. Well, maybe two other little things. So I know that they had some interest before in doing something like a, I don't know what to call it, a bee farm or something with the bees. And then would they be doing like the livestock, or is that like a whole totally different thing?
Well, okay, great questions. So when this site was first licensed, a different group was licensing it to specifically have bees on site. This group who is currently licensing it might be interested in that, but that is not necessarily their primary goal. And I think that specific use, we would need to have them to show that there was explicit support by the immediate abutters, even folks across the street, to make sure that people were in favor of that. Because I know in some cases where there are bees, if somebody wants to put bees somewhere and the abutter is allergic to bees, that could be a big concern to them. So that would always have to be a consideration. And they haven't mentioned bees to me specifically, and I'm not so far not planning to put bees in the RFP as like a desired use, which doesn't mean it couldn't be considered later, but we would expect them to have clear community support, as I said. In terms of livestock, so there is also there is a specific process to go through. Oh, thank you, Diane. Diane has some feedback about the bees. So there is a specific process to go through. If, for example, they wanted to put chickens, somebody wanted to put chickens on that land, they would have to get it's not called a permit. I was about to say a zoning variance, which is not what it is, but a permit. They'd have to go through that process, which would involve a different community meeting. They would need to get, again, community support and get a permit to have chickens, because it is not an allowable use. That's like the lingo, meaning you can't automatically have chickens. So you need to either, people do have chickens. People sneak chickens in all over the place. There's chickens next door to my house, but technically speaking, they would have to go through that process to get a permit for the chickens.
Okay, good. Yeah, I just wondered if like it is a great idea to have the open space and to do the garden or farm, but I guess the question was, would they need to go through another process in order to have like bees and chickens?
Yes.
So thank you so much for answering.
You're very welcome. And I see Amy Winter has a question about the deed restriction in perpetuity. Yes. So the way we're writing our deeds these days for open space projects is that we write it to say, this is pretty close to the exact language, that the space shall be preserved as open space in perpetuity as the law allows. And if not, then for 30 years with an optional 20 years. And that's because there's some disagreement and interpretation that goes into whether or not, like how permanent we can make it as the city without the state also signing on. So in order to make our projects move more quickly, rather than have the additional level of having to go through what could be a months-long process of getting state sign-off, and which they haven't really indicated they're up for doing at this point, we put it in that kind of phrasing where it says in perpetuity as the law allows, and then it would at minimum be 30 years with an optional 20-year renewal. So you can kind of count on 50 years, and then as long as as long as basically nobody challenges it legally, then it would be in perpetuity. Let's see, I'm the friendly neighborhood beekeeper, and that would not be a good use for that space. But we do need a public space for bees. Yes, Leonard. Yes, we do need a public space for bees, and I would be happy to talk more with you about that. Any other questions? Oh, yes, go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about the RFP's timeline and how the
Yes.
moves forward?
Yeah, I will start that, right. So we at B&D, we are prepared to move forward if there is general community support for the this open space use and urban agriculture use. So we would probably wait at least a couple weeks to have online commentary or any more, contact from abutters and neighbors about it. But we would plan on issuing that RFP. Let's see, this is the beginning of December. So I think realistically, we probably wouldn't issue it until the beginning of January. And then there would be like a month before the deadline when people could respond to that RFP. So that's the timeline.
Any
other questions? Make sure I save this chat. Oh, how can residents be involved in the process of helping building up the garden? Oh, and yes. So residents will have access to the greenhouse if that is in fact what ends up being part of what's built. We would make that a requirement. I mean, it needs to be a space for the public, and I mean, there are cases where we have urban farms where most of the operations are done by the staff, but if the group if the group that I expect to end up owning it or that I know will apply ends up doing it, they're very focused on community access, and it's really all about it being a service for the community, very directly for the community, as opposed to like them growing food and selling it to the community. But I think probably the best way, let's see, how can residents be involved in the process of helping build up the garden? This is a really good question. Anybody who submits a proposal for this would need to be in close touch with the neighbors in order to show the community support of the project. So if you live close by, they should be reaching out to you. And then I'm trying to think what other more specific ways. I mean, you certainly could go by when you see someone there, but I know that that's just like, you're kind of just wishing and hoping for when they're there. I think probably the best way to connect with them if you don't hear from them directly would be probably through the Codman Neighborhood Council, because I will be making sure that any applicants are in touch with the council and that their contact information is readily available. And actually, I would say that they will also need to have a sign that has their contact information. So that's something that you could try to reach out to them that way. I hope that answered your question, Nakia. If you have more follow-up questions or that wasn't sufficient, let me know. Other questions? Great, I'm glad that answered you. Okay, so I'll just go on to my next, I think this is the last slide is just about, yeah, so as I said, the next steps would be that we will have at least a couple weeks of time when people can offer more input. I find that when something's already being licensed for a certain use, and then we send a postcard that says we're considering making this permanent, I do find that if people hate what's happening, they usually let us know. So I will, I expect that if we don't hear much, that we'll just go ahead and issue the RFP in about a month. So if you have more thoughts that you didn't want to share here, but you want to tell me, please do reach out to me, and here's my information. I will also write it in the chat. And also, if you know people who couldn't make this meeting, but they live close by that site and they have feedback, I would really love to hear from them as well. So they can go on, they would have gotten a postcard that has the link to put comments online, but also it has my contact information, and this here is my contact information where people can reach out to me directly. And I'm really happy to hear from everyone, whether they're happy or not happy or whatever it is. So, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for presenting here. When you get a chance, you can stop sharing your screen. And
yes, I will do that now. And I just put my contact info in the chat, so you should be able to reach me.
Excellent.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
I'm gonna sign off, but it's good. It's good to be here. I love Codman Square. I used to live in Codman Square, so it's always got a special place in
Hold
my
on,
heart.
Shani, let me reclaim the host really quickly.
Oh yes.
Thank you. Well done. A lot of people are really excited about this parcel and this project, so we really appreciate you being with us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for having me. Take care, everyone.
Good night. Moving along in the agenda, we are now going to hear from our friendly neighborhood beekeeper. You heard from him a couple times this evening. Leonard Lee is here, and he's going to talk about an initiative he has going on called Masking Boston. Take it away. Leonard? Oh, there you
go. Yes. Good evening. First, I wanted to just share with you real quickly. I was listening to everybody how long they've been in Dorchester and been in Codman Square, and I'm really proud to see everyone here and see the diversity of everyone being part of it. As Cynthia knows, I've known her probably all her life. Her father was not only a mentor of mine, but also a good a colleague that we worked on a lot of different projects together. I used to be executive director of Dorchester Neighborhood Service Center. I went to the home school, graduated from Girls Latin, which is now apartment complex, grew up in Franklinfield Housing Development, was here when there was one side of Washington Street that you didn't go on and another side that you did go on, and then there was another side that you wish you wanted to live on. As a child, I wanted to live on the other side. And now as an adult, I live on the other side. But the beauty of it is we all live on the other side. So I'm really excited about being here. And I think Cynthia did this on purpose because, you know, as I talk about this project that I've been working on, I'm looking at y'all and I'm saying to myself, I need to be more involved with my people. Y'all are my people. I mean, I'm currently one of the commissioners on the Park Commission. I'm also a commissioner on the Human Rights Commission. I'm currently, my background is really public health. A former deputy commissioner of public health, division director of violence and injury prevention for the state. So I've done a lot of different things. I used to be the executive director of Augment Learning Center in Ashmont. So this is my home. It's a choice for me to be here. So I'm just so proud to see y'all. You don't understand the excitement of just seeing and hearing your commitment to this community because, like I said, I've been here since I was a little kid. I don't plan to go anywhere anytime soon unless they kick me out. But with that being said, I want to share with you, as you know, COVID hit. And because I have a public health background, and currently I'm the general manager and curator of Roxbury Heritage State Park and Melnia Cass Recreational Complex. A little different than public health, but I wanted to come back home. And so as we closed our facility and COVID hit, I was trying to think of what we can do to be proactive to the pandemic. And because of my public health background, I know that people of color have pre-existing conditions that's going to heighten the need to wear PPE equipment. So I got on Facebook and I said to all my 2,472 friends, asked them if they could give up coffee for one day and send me that $5. The next thing I know, it was $10,000 in the account. I went and bought some masks initially and just put them in little baggies. I wore gloves and I went and distributed them around the community. In Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, Fields Corner, Upton's Corner, Mattapan Square, Nubian Square, Hyde Square, South Boston, and we just passed out masks and hand sanitizer. The next thing I know, I was getting donations from everywhere. People were sending me money. Companies were donating. To date, we've given out probably about 120,000 masks and hand sanitizer, free of charge. I mean, it's so weird. I was up at Common Square and I was passing them out. Somebody says, "Oh, should I pay you?" And I was like, no, it's free. Oh, what, it's from the city or is it from the government? I said, no, it's from people who just don't want people to die. I mean, this is one of the things, and I'm real adamant about this, masks should be free for everyone because it's not like your glasses or a sweater, or if you don't have a mask, you could die, especially with pre-existing conditions. And I don't mean to preach to folk because I see that you all are committed to have a healthy and wonderful community. But one of the things that's really important to me is when you know there's some elements where it's going to affect certain groups of people in certain ways, you want to try to be proactive. So we've been distributing it to rape crisis centers, community centers, senior buildings, general folks in the street, first responders. We were working with a group out of Lexington. This is really weird because I was in Metco and I went to high school in Lexington, and one of my classmates saw what I was doing, and then she got a bunch of women in Wellesley and Needham, and they made a whole bunch of handmade masks so that I can distribute to first responders in Roxbury, Dorchester, and Mattapan, which I thought was amazing. So we also start looking and identifying in other areas, such as Suffolk County Jail. We noticed that a lot of the prisoners who are basically, that's a petri dish, didn't have enough masks. So we called Sheriff Tompkins and we raised some money. We gave him 10,000 masks. We contacted the MBTA police and got custom masks made for them. Again, I really didn't think this thing was going to blow up as much as it is. I thought I was going to give out a couple of masks, but this thing has gone everywhere. We're currently in Springfield, working with a group of folk. I just got back, believe it or not, I just got back from Jamaica, where somebody heard what I was doing and said, can we replicate it down here? The whole concept is real simple. It's really just people buying some masks and giving them out to folk. And it's been pretty amazing. It's been, I mean, I always like showing my box of masks and everything. And I just picked up a donation today. So it's been, it's not mine. So if anybody needs masks, hand sanitizer, or anything like that, it's free of charge. Just call me. We can have someone deliver it to you. We were hitting all the churches. And this is not a political thing. This is really just caring about our neighbor. My neighbors think I'm crazy anyway. Judge, all of them. They think I'm insane anyway. But I just thought, if everyone does a little bit, nobody has to do a lot. So that's what I've been doing for the past, since the beginning of COVID. Since our building's been closed because of COVID, I figured I could kill some time in terms of getting masks free out to the community. So that's my story in a nutshell, but I want to put in a cheap plug for Root Soulful Bees honey. This is honey from Dorchester. It's from Dorchester. It's not honey from farm. It's from Dorchester honey from the hood. But in all seriousness, we've been doing this masking project. This is my home. I really am excited about seeing what you guys have been doing, and I'm on the team. Cynthia, you know how I think. I'm just so excited. And one of the things I have to give this shout out because it's really, really, really important. Russell Holmes was the first and only public official who knocked on my door and said, how can I help? Usually, and I'm not saying that to down anyone else. I want to acknowledge my hero, where I didn't have to call him. He called me and said, how can I be helped? He was one of the first ones to write me a check to give out free masks to people in the community.
Yes.
Any questions?
Thank you so much, Leonard. And thank you for mentioning Rep. Holmes. He was actually a 2020 Hidden Hero and Shiro Award awardee this year. So we completely understand his commitment to this community. Can you put your information in the chat so that people that want to get in contact with you to help you distribute masks can reach you?
Yes.
We would love to work with you, especially with the winter market. We'll be doing a lot of free food distribution, and those families that pick up the food, we really want to be able to get them masks from your organization.
Oh, no, that'd be wonderful. Not a problem. Yes, I can do that.
Any other questions or comments for Leonard? This is such an important initiative, and thank you for keeping it going, because I know that the momentum was strong. There were a lot of individuals and organizations distributing masks early on, but I'm grateful that you're continuing as we move into flu season, as we move into the holiday season, as the numbers continue to rise. So we're very grateful for you, Leonard. Thank you. And we will be reaching out to you for Neighborhood Council initiatives.
Yes, I'm here.
Great. Moving along in the agenda, we're now going to hear from Rebecca from Codman Academy Charter Public School. She's going to give us an update on what's going on with the school.
Hi, everyone. My name is Rebecca. My pronouns are she, her. I'm the recruitment coordinator and manager at Codman Academy Charter Public School. And I just wanted to thank Cynthia for welcoming me to the meeting. And I wanted to make an announcement about our applications for our school for this year and for next school year. So we still have open seats in 9th grade for this school year. So it's kind of like a rolling application. So if anyone in your network is looking to switch schools or is just moving here or anything like that, they can apply for 9th grade still at Codman. And then we do have our open applications for the following school year for grades K1 through 9th grade. So again, if anyone in your network has children who want to attend Codman or any other charter school for that matter, they can apply, and I can type that in the chat for the link to apply. So those are open right now and they're due February 28th. And that's my announcement about recruitment, but if any of you have any questions about what Codman has been doing, I can also speak to those.
Great, thank you, Rebecca. Please put the information in the chat, we'd really appreciate that. If there are no questions for Rebecca, we're going to move along in the agenda and we'll hear from the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Roudnie, are you on?
I can't see myself. Hi everyone, my name is Cèlestin with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. I had a chance to get some ready, yay. So I'll try and be fast. I just put my contact information in the chat and I'll run through my updates. If anything comes up, just stop me in the middle. I'm usually a fast talker. I'm gonna start with my numbers. COVID. So far in the city of Boston, we have 28,053 confirmed cases, 22,755 have recovered, and unfortunately, 925 have passed away as of today, December 2nd. These are right now in the chat for you, and boston.gov/coronavirus is where you can get all this data, including data divided in ethnic and racial categories for you to see. Boston.gov virus. My next is, so you know, the updates that I have tonight, I'm gonna tell everything that I have before I jump into my specifics. I have updates from childcare, city services, construction, federal action, resources, general city updates, housing support, park and public resources, parking and transportation, racial equity, small business development. So I have a ton of updates. So as I go, stop me if you want to. My next update is our new Finance Navigator program. Let me read more on that. So the city announced a new resource to help residents deal with the economic stresses. And the way you do that is by filling out a survey with the Office of Financial Empowerment. So you can ask, it's basically, excuse me. So it's a survey that you fill out. It basically makes an assessment and then they see what support do they give you. Do you have a business that you need help with? Do you need help with rental assistance? We have the rental assistance program that just reopened and we are offering up to $10,000 now, $4,000 we were previously given out. This is the information here for the Financial Navigator program. You can give them a call there. And the office for that is oef.boston.gov. Here you go. And my next update, if there are no questions about that one, is on the, excuse me, it's the worst doing this while you try to type everything. So just so you know, for the month of December, we are going to be offering free parking in the city of Boston, free 2-hour parking at all the meter parking across the city. And I'll put the dates here for you. That's basically to help support our small businesses, to give them more traffic. Of course, huge deterrent for me personally. So I will avoid a store just because I cannot park, because I don't like getting tickets, I can't afford it. So that's an incentive for you to visit stores that you probably wouldn't, because we are removing the 2-meter in those areas. I just put in the chat for you the list of Saturdays where you can park for free and 2-meter parkings. So a big concern for a lot of folks. Again, I just mentioned that we have the rental relief program. Did I put the chat here already? Here for you. So we all have template for folks facing eviction. And so the way you access this template, if you're kicked out by your landlord, is by going to boston.gov/housing stability. Putting that in the chat for you right now. That's a delay. That the the moratorium, meaning the pause on eviction, ended officially on October 17th. But there's a federal moratorium on eviction that remains in place until December 31st. So if you're having any issues, if you or your tenant's having any issues, they can use it here. And that's going in the chat right now. So you can go on that website to get the template to send to your landlord. So if you're not using it, remember everything that I post here tonight, if you're not using it, someone on your Facebook account might need it. So try and learn up on these and share them with folks. And my final update. No, that's it for the updates that I brought out tonight. Put the link for the rental relief fund. Okay, that's the last link here for rental relief. So are there any questions for me or any tickets that are not being closed out? I'm finding that folks have been very, very good after these meetings and getting me, things that are not being followed up on. I'm getting multiple tickets or multiple emails after meetings. So I will replace my information in the chat. If you put any tickets in 311 and they have not gone through, let us know. And as a general reminder, this is the end of the season. We'll not see you again until next year. I know people were going to get a little homesick and try to have parties. Remember, continue to log these. If there are problem properties in the city, we do have the Problem Properties Task Force that helps us drill down on these properties. We can impose fines on their property. And every time we send the police to their home, after we've declared them a problem property, we charge them for these visits. So there are plenty of deterrents. They just don't come as fast as we want them to. So I encourage you to stay engaged and let us know what's going on in your community. Because the great reports that we get from the officers, like we got earlier, that's because folks are letting us know what's going on, right? Are there any questions for me or anything the mayor should be aware of or things that are not working out in your vicinity?
Thank you so much, Roudnie. In the interest of time, I'm going to ask people to send their questions to the chat for you, if you don't mind staying on and responding.
Too. Thank you, everyone.
Great. Thank you so much. That's a lot of information. Take it all in, save it, share it. Next on the agenda, we're going to hear from State Representative Russell Holmes, also a 2020 hidden hero.
Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. I have, 6 minutes here, Cynthia? Is that right? Or 5, because you probably want to do some announcements.
Yes.
I'm going to just spend I'll go 2 minutes maybe just on what I wanted to talk about. It could probably take me about 15 to 20, but I'll take some questions. So as many of you may have seen on the news, we have passed in the House and the Senate police reform here in the Commonwealth. It does have something that I have mentioned to you folks about many, many times, and that is the crux of the bill, or the most important part, I think, of the bill is what we call peace officer standard and training, which is we were only one of 4 states in this country that does not, and still does not, because we haven't passed the bill and had it signed, does not have the possibility to decertify an officer. So we have this situation where someone could do something inappropriate in one police department, leave that police department and move to another police department, and quite frankly, could do that and not have anything that would allow us to stop them from making that move. And so the bill does have this major piece that is responsive to what we've heard all year around decertification. It has in it something around what we call civil service. For those who don't know, police, fire, EMS are the folks who have to take a civil service exam. And then after taking that exam, we literally go from the top of the list down the list to select who's going to be on our police and our fire and EMS. And just quite frankly, around the Commonwealth, we have a major problem with the fact that basically all of those departments are almost essentially white and almost essentially all male. Certainly not reflective of the demographics of this Commonwealth. We have a process set up that we call the commission to set up and figure out how can we really deal with resolving this issue. It quite frankly comes down to what we call a veteran's preference. What do I mean here in Boston? If you are a veteran and a disabled veteran and you take the test and you score a 75, let's say, and I am not a veteran and I score a 95 on the test, you still get to go above that list at a 75 than I did as a 95. It's called an absolute preference. And sure, when we may have set this up many, many years ago, after World War I, it might have made sense that a person who is disabled coming back from war or coming back and has been through an incident of war and is disabled should have an opportunity to have a major preference. But to now have an absolute preference, to me, and the most rigorous, if not most difficult job, where you think about people climbing ladders with hoses on their backs and breaking in doors that have with fire behind them, and have almost essentially every one of those jobs being filled by a disabled veteran. Something's wrong with our process, because essentially most of them are filling themselves as being disabled because they have a 10% hearing loss. So who doesn't unfortunately come back from war with a loss in hearing? And that's essentially almost exactly what happens, and they get the disabled veteran status. Next is there's a belief by many that structural racism does not exist. And that's not by those who are Black, Latino, or Asian. It's certainly by many folks who are white. And that debate continues to be one that is in society, particularly as we look to try to figure out how do we dismantle so many things that are structurally racist. And there are quite a few commissions around Black, Latino, Black men and boys and the like that are in this bill to try to figure out just systemically, or how do we try to eradicate some of these things systemically throughout our society. And the fourth thing was around use of force in the bill. Those are the four primary things. There are many others. And that is, what do we do about chokeholds and not allow them? What do we do about no-knock warrants and not allowing them unless there are very stringent things taken out about them? What do we do, like no chokeholds period should ever happen and the like. And then there's something called duty to intervene, which is essentially if you see something going on as an officer, you have the right or the duty to intervene. It is not something you can stand around and watch. I'm sorry, that was 4 minutes, and I'll stop and see if there's a question. I'm sure there must be 10,000 of them, but to just let you know where the bill is passed. I've talked to the governor's folks and the governor 3 or 4 times. We're hoping he's going to have some comments about it, but we're certainly hoping and not expecting him to veto the bill, but he's going to probably come back with some amendments. We're going to try to get this done in the next month. That's all I can do in 4 minutes. Questions if you have any, or call me if you do.
I know a lot of people are interested in this, so maybe we can allocate more time to you next month, Rep. Holmes, to kind of delve into it a little bit further.
Sure.
Are you open to that in January?
Absolutely.
Great. Any questions, comments, or thoughts for Rep. Holmes?
I can also send Cynthia the summary of the bill, which is so much more expansive than what I just went through, and maybe you can just pass that around as well. I think it's 8 or 9 pages.
Thank you for working on this and making sure our voice and perspective is heard at the state level. We appreciate it, Rep. Holmes.
Thanks.
We're now going to move on to announcements. We can quickly just share some announcements. Does anyone have announcements they want to quickly share? Anyone? I know that the Boston Public Health Commission is looking for focus group participants. They want to hear your opinions about COVID-19. They're going to be giving out gift cards to Amazon, Target, and Stop and Shop. So there's some information here. Any other announcements? I don't know if Rich is still on, but he had a couple of events coming up this week.
Cynthia, can I just, in addition to what Reverend said earlier about priority, that the Boston Police Reform recommendation is also coming out with a piece that addresses giving priority to Boston Public School graduates. So that's a positive for that. I just put the link in there if you want to read on the reform.
Thank you so much, Roudnie. Another announcement.
Yes. Good afternoon. My name is Carrie Rose. I'm from the George Washington Van Buren Lodge up on Tapper Avenue. I'm the representative from up there. We also normally give a Christmas party every year. We won't be able to give it this year, so we're looking to reach out to some families. Maybe the group may know some families that we can help during the holidays to focus on families, since we're not able to give the community party for the kids this year. And also we doing the food share every other Thursday from 2 to 4. We doing it very safely. We doing it through the people come in, they come to the door and they go out of one door, and we're sharing the food. Last week, we gave out 250 turkeys and baskets to the neighborhoods. But if anybody got any question or know any family that we can, I will post my information in the chat.
Great, thank you. The Center for Community Wellness is also doing a Preparing for End of Life conversation. The information is here on December 3rd. And the Center for Community Wellness is also doing an update on COVID-19. And that's December 10th, 7 to 8:15, and the information's here. Any other announcements? If there is nothing else, I want to thank you all for your time, for your attention. We covered a lot. We shared a lot of information. Bring it to your family, your friends, your neighbors. And I will see you next month, same time, same place, January 6th, 7 p.m. Thank you so much. Have a good evening. And welcome to the 2021 board. I'm really excited to work with all of you.
Thank you. Have a good night.